Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 32nd episode of the. This time I called it right of the ArtaCast. With a lot of new things to. We have some announcement to make today. I have to make a really personal announcement, but we have also like an announcement for us too. Um, and yeah, there were a lot of tournaments in the weekend. Honestly, I think the most competitive players of Lorcana had a lot of options to watch competitive set 8 gameplay, and I guess not too many surprises for me. I didn't watch everything, but I think was kind of the expected decks to shine, and but yeah, maybe we talk about that later. Eddie, how was your week? Did you do a lot of testing? How is your feeling right now about the game?
Yeah, I did test a lot this week. I got the chance to play a bunch of games with a bunch of different decks. And my feeling about the game is kind of mostly positive, I would say. Like you say, the results we've seen, and it's the same for testing as well as tournaments, they're mostly in line with what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
The only real big difference, I guess, is that everyone was very, very scared of green steel at the start, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's like it's it's not as scary as people thought. It's good, but like there were concerns this was going to be like the best deck by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a tier one deck that's good and has very annoying patterns, but it's not. We're not at the point where we were last set, for example. Where like we were within a couple of weeks, it was blue, red, and blue steel, and those were the decks that were able
Mm-hmm.
to exist before the bannings happened. So yeah, it looks a fair bit healthier than that. Some of the decks and some of the cards are a little bit annoying, so yeah, some frustration creeping in, but not frustration coming from a point of like the game being fundamentally broken, if that makes sense. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like you can have success playing a wide range of stuff. And yeah, feeling pretty good about some of the decks that I've been working on at the moment, as well as some of the things that we've seen do well in the tournaments this weekend.
What are you what are you working mainly? Because I'm mainly working on my staff
Hmm.
deck, the staff bounce control, which is
Yep.
if you may want to start with that.
Yeah, let's have a
Um,
look. Yeah.
yeah, for the deck, I worked on it quite a lot because I was like so impressed of Max making this. I still find it like a sensational tournament run with it, like losing no match, and yeah, it is still. Uh, how can I say? I can make more precise statements now for the deck because I
Hmm.
playtested it a lot, and I think it still crushes. I mean, not like really crushes some matchups really really hard, but also like struggles against some matchups that are sadly like kind of popular right now. And
Mm.
that's the worst thing about it. For example, like if you name it like Ember Steel Aggro can be really challenging to survive long enough. And if Ember Steel is like that popular like it is right now, then it's maybe not the best positioned, but still it crushes a lot of discard decks and also like controlish style decks. So I still think it's a serious, if you're really high into it and want to like learn it and want
Mm.
to like, it's still a serious consideration for even a bigger tournament. I think especially like the first rounds of a big tournament, you are very likely to owe a lot of people who will not know what's actually going on there. And because even like the aggro players, if they don't know the deck, they don't know like they can just dump the hand always because they have a lot of cards, and you can really like one misplay out of the from the aggro player can decide still the game into your favor, and it's not unwinnable, but it's not like the matchup you want to face. So um I think it's maybe not the best position, but still a very strong deck. That's my conclusion right now. The only adjustments I make, they're very slight, because after testing it a lot, I really realized how well defined the list from Max was. I think there was not many things I missed there. The only card I really missed often was the second Bend to My Will, because digging for the one was like very very exhausting sometimes, and still the deck is crazy hard to pilot, in my opinion, because you have so many different win conditions. Like, you can do, like, for example, if you play against a control deck, like, do you want to dig? I mean, I it's even hard to say that, like, objectively. Do you want to dig for the Bend to My Will, like play a lot of Show Me Mores and stuff? Or do you want to just develop your Maleficent Staffs and stuff, to, like, go that route of, like, just slowly, like, slowly gaining that lore through just consistently bouncing their characters? And because it's, like, hard to say, like if you find the Bend to My Will with that Show Me More, you, like, win the game instantly. What's kind of
Yep.
kind of appealing. But then if you don't find it, then it's, like, not the best play, and you would like to play something else. So it's really, I think it's really hard to pilot, because you have so many win conditions. I think every deck with multiple win conditions is, it's at least something you need to practice, to get used to it. What I really also like. What do you guess out of the list right now? It's really funny. What do you think is one of the worst performing cards for me? You wouldn't guess that, I think.
The
Or maybe,
worst
I mean, you
performing cards.
maybe you played that deck yourself a bit, and did you?
Yeah, I've played
Okay,
some.
okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
one
I have
card,
played some of this actually.
which is a 4 off, actually gets rarely
Hmm.
usage in my games.
Is it Friends?
No, it's Clarabelle for me, like, because, like, I
Okay,
have I
yeah.
have so much card draw and stuff that I don't know. It's often not really needed, but sometimes it's still kind of broken. But on the other hand, like, if I have, like, 7 to 8 cards in my hand, I still don't want to. It must be, like, the last card of your hand, or, like, the one of the last 3 4 cards to really get you, because in most situations you have all the cards you're looking for, but still
Hmm.
can get you very much fast closer to a Bend to My Will or stuff. So it's like, I really thought about maybe cutting her a bit, but it's, like, kind of insane in a deck like this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
when it does its thing, it's
yeah,
it's like brilliant. But yeah, no, I see that. I see that tension. And I did play the deck a fair bit as well. Yeah, I've got some
yeah.
reps and
It still is like a deck, like we said last week. It's You don't want to pick this deck up and, like, play some game. And sometimes when I win a game, I thought, that was so much effort to win this game. And
yeah, right.
and if you play something else, like an aggressive deck, you just slam some cards and win games without even thinking about them. So it's like, it's still, like, it's not like the best, the best deck of, like, if you want the best, how can you say, the best out of your effort, like the least effort
Mm.
win percentage. How can I say, what? Wait, I missed the word right now.
Yeah, I think it's like what you're trying to say. It's like effort to wins ratio.
Ratio.
It's the
That's
ratio. You can definitely get more wins with
yeah,
less effort
yeah,
with
yeah,
different
yeah.
decks. This is
That's
like yeah, this is bend over backwards sweating to try and find like one path to victory
yeah.
with this while your opponent sits there and goes, I turn Daisy sideways and you go, okay, great. You put your hand, you shake their hand and go off and get your lunch.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, I completely agree that was very similar to my experience. And I think when we made that comment about like, this isn't a deck that you just want to pick up randomly and start
yeah.
jamming games with. I didn't realize that that also included me. I thought I've played enough of this. I was talking about like a hypothetical, less experienced player, and then I thought, well, surely me with my gigantic brain can play this perfectly. And then I would just like you make one little sequencing error because the lines are so weird and not like anything else.
Yeah.
And the game is lost.
Yeah.
And then you just have to think about your mistake and go, okay, bank that. We'll play another game and see what happens. Yeah, really, I think it has a crazy, crazy high skill ceiling, and its matchups that are good are so good. But yeah, it does have random, like you mentioned, it has random really terrible matchups. Like I
Yeah,
found
and
purple steel isn't like it's not a
yeah,
big fixture in the metagame right now, but it's really terrible to
yeah,
face with this.
and it has these random error moments. Like there's some
Mm,
specific simple things that can crush the stack a bit, and that's like not what you want. Like even a goat
yeah,
sometimes
sure.
is like a really
Yeah,
tricky card to deal with
yeah.
because you're
This deck
like
does not
yeah.
doesn't deal with goats like at all. Just looks at them and goes, "Oh, well,
Oh, I
now
can't
what?"
bounce them. I can't kill them. I can do
Yep.
nothing. And it's like a goat is not that hard to get on the board.
No.
Like, yeah, but it's a cool thing. I will work on it still, and it's fun for me.
Yeah, it's a really deep and interesting deck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think if there are players out there that are really drawn to this kind of thing, and there haven't been too many of them in Lorcana, like something with massive diversity of lines, really like you can have incredibly explosive turns. You can set up board states that are near unbeatable. As long as you navigate your way there, because the tools that get you into that position are so clunky and you're only going to live if you do the right things in the right order. But for some players that's like a massive draw. So yeah, I hope some people do pick this up and kind of push it to its absolute limit,
Mhm.
because I think the limit is really, really high.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, exciting to see where this goes.
Yeah. And what did you work on this week?
Um, so
Or
I'm
tell
a
me
bit of
one of the decks.
yeah, I'm a bit of a lost soul at the moment because I really, really like green purple in this
Mhm.
set. Coming off the end of set 7, I was pretty attached to green purple discard, and I still think that deck's fantastic. I put most of my time this week into testing different versions of green purple. So the reason why I feel lost with it is because I haven't drawn any meaningful conclusions about which build I want to be playing. They just all feel quite good.
Mhm.
Um, like I played discard, that felt decent, and then I would
Mhm.
randomly lose some games. I played tempo, that also felt decent. And so like the first list I kind of want to talk to you about is I tried to land somewhere in the middle with a discardless Diablo list, because the thing that I really want to do, as I mentioned last couple of weeks, is I want to be playing levers, and I want to be putting my pooler lever into my discard by shifting Diablo. It's the best way to get your first copy into the discard so that your first wrong lever is online. But I
Mhm.
don't always want that discard game plan. So I
Mhm.
played with what I call like discardless Diablo.
Mhm.
And actually, I've seen a ton of testing this for about a week, and I've seen a ton of people playing with
Mhm.
similar type lists to this. I don't know. I guess it's just an idea that a bunch of people have independently
Mhm.
thought was worth exploring. Um, and the results again were just like overwhelmingly good, but not incredible.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so none of these. It's not that any of them are bad at all. I think like any of these green purple builds are in the tier 1 conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
But even when I go for a middle ground,
Mhm.
I still didn't feel like I made any significant breakthroughs in thinking. It was
Mhm.
all just like the experience
Probably,
was so similar every time.
yeah, probably they aren't. Yeah, probably they aren't. There are all of their ups and downsides, and I guess okay. So the list that is also like something I was like interested in building myself, and I think it's like also very reasonable. What I don't like about the discard thing is like it's kind of a bit. I mean, both have their ups and downs. I think this card is a lot better into some matchups, but it's like worse into
Yeah.
aggressive matchups. And then um, that's also something I personally hate, losing to aggro, That's always something I really want
Sure.
to avoid. To
Hmm.
have two Prince Johns in my hand when they slam some Smees and Daisies, and I'm not able to interact with them. But against lower decks, this card was always like better.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's really hard to say. Like you can punish this, because like against slower decks, you can punish them with this card, or you can punish them with aggressive strategies. So both have their ups and downsides, I think, and it's like very, very hard, like you say, to determine which is better.
Yeah. Yeah, really
Um,
hard. And so the only sort of meaningful conclusion that I arrived at,
mhm.
with the hell I was yelling into the void in Discord, as I have a tendency to do. As soon as I can't find an answer on my own, I just start lashing out and being
It's
like, "Hello, anyone want to tell me what's happening?" And yeah, Ed very kindly helped me crystallize my thoughts by saying it pretty much boils down to discard has better matchups into Ruby decks and tempo has better matchups into steel decks, which to me right now feels more important. But
yeah.
like it's neither here nor there. You have to be able to beat both decks. And so it's just you just have a different matchup spread. Both the decks are totally fine and also have a load of scope for diversity in their builds.
Yeah.
Like some people have a ton of pans and Iagos,
Mm-hmm.
some people will have just pans,
Mm-hmm.
some people will be playing like Ursula discard versions, and there's like near unending range of ways that you can build this sort of thing. And if you're looking for like an objectively best build, I'm not sure you're going to find it right now. If you put me on the spot, what would I play, tempo or discard right now? I would go with tempo. I certainly most recently had positive experiences with tempo, but yeah, it's been so on the line. It's been really hard to draw conclusions between the two of them. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
in the past, I've always had like some prevailing feeling of which one I really wanted to play. Right now, I don't, which is probably a good thing for green purple enjoyers because they can kind of just do whatever they want, and I think that all the builds are
Yeah.
good.
The good thing for me is what's better for me than for you is I surely know that, because I think both are kind of the same, that I really enjoy the tempo playstyle way more. So
Yep.
the decision for me is clear. But for you, it's harder because you like this card also, and that's a
Mm.
dilemma for you.
Yeah, and that's probably why I'm finding it so difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you're given an option between two things and there is like in terms of the results they lead to are pretty much the same, or it appears they would be very, very close, then you just default to whichever one you think you'd have more fun with. That's the problem. I don't really know which one I'd have more fun with right now because I'm like torn between them. But I'll just play tempo. I think that's most recently had the best result for me, so I would
I
stick
think both have
with that for
also
the time
their
being.
both have also their, like still some exploration. What I still
Yep.
don't get too much about the discard deck is like the 2-cost Diablo. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get this card. I didn't get it at all. Do you ever shift on it? Do you ever shift on it?
I shift on it very, very rarely. Yeah. Um.
Maybe you do it from time to time, but still, Gogo is so much of a better card. Like in general, I think
mm,
I would be, if I see the discard list, I still see like this very high amount of Diablos, and I don't know if it's
yeah.
necessary to play that amount of Diablos, but maybe the discard players put a lot more effort than me in it, so maybe they are
Mm,
or they
yeah. I
are
mean,
right. Yeah, that's what I
yeah.
like about
The
your list
other
right now, because like you made
it has
the
go go.
no, and it has like the, how can I say, the the power level, the single power level of the cards is high in your deck, because you
It is.
like you
Yep.
have goats and gogos, so the very many cards in your list right now are a meaningful top deck, for example, like
Yes.
a and not this, like all of these Diablos, for example, in the end game, they are just bad top decks. I don't know, that they don't do
Yep.
much, especially like the green one. But I see what the one cost is still good, but the 2 cost one, and I think like if I wouldn't play that in like a normal tempo list, why should I play it in a Diablo list if I don't shift as often on it? Then I think
Sure.
why, yeah, then. But yeah, I think goats for me personally are very good. I think
Yep.
they are better than, yeah, they are still very important. Still, there are still some
Yep.
matchups like red blue that we shouldn't forget about that, and where
Yeah.
goats really
Right.
really help. And yeah, I like your
Yeah, because
list
you
right
do.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And you do get stuck in those matchups. Like it's the discard deck is completely capable of winning them, but you do hit this wall of like you
Mm,
need some reach to close these, especially on the draw. You really feel the difference closing those games out. So yeah, there's a middle ground like this. I've really enjoyed, and yeah, has been surprisingly good. Just trying to sort of incorporate the trading tool, more of the trading tools of tempo and the reach with the power of Diablo openings and high density of evasives. Yeah, it's been good, and yeah, can't complain. It's just that I don't know where I go next.
yeah,
For
for
the
me,
time being, it's
yeah,
yeah.
for me too. Like if we speak about normal tempo, I'm really high still on my
Mm,
list that I played last week on a tournament. I wouldn't change much. I'm testing right now, just if you see the list again, I'm testing right now the more one drops again and cutting the flints, but I
hmm.
don't know if that's the right call. It's like a different approach, but yeah, I don't have any meaningful for you listeners if you want to. I don't have any meaningful like clearly like statement which is the better approach. I
Mm.
think for me 55 cards or so are solved, but not like 60. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I can kind of distill my main thoughts on the format as a green purple player is like all I know all I can really say for sure right now is in this moment, as long as my deck has 4 copies of 2 cost Ursula, 4 foxes, and 4 crabs, I feel pretty comfy. That's like
For me it's for
as long as
kids
I'm
also like but
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I can
but
see that.
kid is oh kid is I will miss that. I will miss that card so much. I think it's
Maybe you'll get him back.
yeah, I hope so because I think it's like I love it. I just love it, and it answers so many things right now. It's really
Mm,
sad if he has to go, and I'm always happy if I have a kid in my opening hand.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah,
It does.
Ursula, yeah, crab. That's yeah, crab is
Crab's
yeah,
great right now.
yeah, crab
Really,
is
really
great.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe we can get on. Maybe that's a good point to segue into why crab is so good. I want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
amber steel a little bit. Maybe first of all we can look at the deck that Kurt Spiess won the
Mm-hmm.
Ink 10K tournament with, because moving forward, people should probably anticipate that this is going to be one of at least one of the go-to builds. I know last week we looked at Sky's build with the Vinnies, and I think that's still performing very well. Hear anecdotally from different people testing that it's really, really good. Um, but yeah, this deck that Kurt brought to the Ink Invitational
Mm-hmm.
is just ludicrously powerful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
really, very, very strong linear aggro deck. Plus, it's a diggy deck, so you've got all of the dwarf mine tech, which is super good in mirrors. Playing other low to the ground stuff. Playing into Rhino continues to be like a horrible experience for tons of decks, and like Crab is one of your only ways out of that. So
The worst thing is
yeah,
Kaloon
there's
for
a
me
lot.
here. They go back to Kaloon. That's what I really
You
hate.
don't like that.
That's the
From
worst
our
card.
perspective, that's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
worst.
Calhoun becomes a tough one to deal with. So yeah, there's a good variety of builds like in this Amber Steel Curve Out deck around at the moment. Some of them you'll see Calhoun, some of them you won't. Some of them are like Dwarf Mine decks, some of them are super aggressive, but they all I think as long as you're playing a deck right now that has like 4 ladies, 4 docs, 4 Smees, 4 Cindy, and 4 Storm, there is though just that as a core is so powerful.
Mm.
These decks are lightning fast. We were sort of speculating that we've got the first truly tier 1 aggro deck that we've seen last week, and that has rung very true. Historically, these types of aggressive dock decks have been very popular at the store level. So at your set champs, you will see a good amount of these around, and players will perform pretty well with them generally. This time around, for players sort of competing in events of that sort of local, regional level, you need to be ready to beat this.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a strong plan to not get completely run over by this just turning sideways.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
is tough. And it's why I say that like crabs, foxes, they are so important right now, because you need to be able to hit things for 4 and 5 pretty reliably. 5 for a clean kill on Rhino. Yeah, congratulations to Kurt. It's an amazing run with an incredibly powerful version of this deck. But this is everywhere. If you test games using the Voldemort method, you will have seen all sorts of variations on this. And I know almost heartbreakingly so, like some of my favorite deck builders from many deck archetypes are currently on this. Regardless of where they came from, control players, mid-range players, people are landing on variants of this as their choice for what's actually the most powerful deck in this format. Very little insight into what the world's players are like locked in on as being the best, but some version of this is way up there. Yeah, and once you've played into it, you'll know why.
I think some versions of this will always be banned in the world, but that's a different story.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Now that's for our conversation on the world's format.
Yeah, but that
which
we
is
do later.
which will help them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I agree with everything you said. I'm sometimes wondering what actually happened. Rhino is, how can I say? Oh, I can only say wrong things now. No, I don't say anything. I
You
think
nearly just dug yourself a huge hole. You were about to say that Rhino isn't that good.
he is that good, but he is that good, but he's overhyped as well a bit.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
He is that good, but he's like overhyped. Like there
May I
are,
add one
yeah,
caveat?
yeah,
One
yeah.
He is overhyped only because the hype is so high. The card is very good. However, the one drop is really underhyped. The one drop looks like a bad card that you have to have in your deck just because Shifting Rhino is so good. It's not. It's
Yeah.
really relevant in terms of like the protection, and people just seem to continuously forget that you applied it to their thing and then take a bad trade. So you've got that sneaky, what I call the Cogsworth effect of your opponent should be able to have done the math correctly. It's not on you to constantly remind them what their character's strength is. And it slips, they forget, and it's actually
Yeah.
significant impact. The one drop better card than it looks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And of course these opening lines are very strong tilting. But
Yep.
yeah, I think for green purple perspective, or for purple perspective in general, I don't think that Rhino makes that matchups worse, because I think like we have very good answers to it, and I think like it's still not the fastest opening. Like if you like Rhino and then shift on 2, and then it's only one character. I mean, if you open Daisy's me, it's just for pure aggression, it's like way faster. Especially like if you
Yeah, yeah,
are a red blue player or something, you rather see a Rhino on 2 than Daisy's me, of course.
yeah. Totally agree.
But of course, strong, and it's not a big cost to add into your deck. So yeah, it's a great card, great addition, and the lady too,
Lady
especially.
is the real. Lady
Yeah,
is the real. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
real difference maker for these decks. Yeah, I don't.
I thought, and
It's so.
it
Yeah.
still is sometimes that you will laugh now, but I thought
Mm,
when the card was revealed, and it sometimes I get confirmed that it's easier to outvalue the Ember Steel players, and what is really possible, like with them only reaching like 10 to 12 floor or something, and then they tend to play the lady and don't get that much value out of it because we run over with the Peter Pan also. But then still often leads to a threatening low amount. I don't know what I want to say. I don't
mm,
want to like offend the deck or something or say it's bad, but like I still want to like analyze the cards as much as I can, and then yeah,
yeah, sure.
I always like experience in this game that when cards that are new are overhyped, and then
Mm,
yeah, then I always like ask me that questions, because
yeah.
I personally feel, and that's my honest opinion, and you will laugh now, that I feel better now into this matchup than in the past with green purple tempo,
Mm,
because when we but if I see that list of Kurt now with 4 Calhouns as well, then it goes trickier, because Calhoun is the really bad card, and yeah, that's way worse than Rhino. And I
yeah.
think all our
And
evasives help a lot, like the Pegasus and the Gogo, because like they can quest all the time, because even in this matchups with sometimes there are like tricky board sides where neither player can still quest, and they don't want to quest with their daisies and stuff, and we can still quest all the time with our characters that lead to a good lore, hopefully lead, but of course like these games, sometimes I know what you mean, like you sometimes think you lose, you win the game, and then they play a dog and another 2 quests and have another 2 quests in the hand, and you randomly lose still the game, which you think you're really much ahead, and then it's kind of sad. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's with Lady in particular, I found it so much easier than I thought it was going to be. The first thing you think of when you look at Lady for most people is like, right, so I get to put my dock into play for free and draw two. That requires some setup because they have to be the
Mm-hmm.
exact two last cards in your hand. But I found it unbelievably easy to set that up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just having like 3, 4 of stats that quests for three, on, if you had it, this isn't so far from like a perfect analogy,
Mm-hmm.
but for the investment of 3 ink, you gain 3, 4 in stats that's going to quest for a total of three,
Mm-hmm.
split across two bodies, which in
Yeah,
some ways is an upside, some ways is a downside. And the two cards replace themselves on play.
yeah,
Because yeah, you draw your
yeah.
two off dock and and they're replaced. You go from 2 cards in hand to 2 cards in hand. It is among the best things you can do in the game, in terms of card value, um, aggressive pressure, board presence. Yeah, it's phenomenal, and that's like the tip of the iceberg in terms of like actual value of bodies you can get in play.
Mm-hmm.
You can have when you play a Smee with it, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even
I
when you've
think
got one
Smee
drop in
is
play,
really,
it's
yeah.
great.
Smee and
Yeah,
Calhoun are
it
crazy good, because you don't
yeah.
need to play that dog. And LD, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Because I think you would be more tilting this week out of from the deck, because last week you
Mm.
said you are very tilted by the deck, and I wanted I I prepared myself for telling. I
You were
actually
thinking
think, and
that
that's
you were
no
going
no
to
no
talk
no
me
no no
down.
no no. I actually think, and that's my honest opinion, the deck is, because it is tilting to lose against it, but it's like it's not that easy to play than people might think. There are still a lot of failure moments, I think, and
Yeah.
I mean, how can I explain? Like, there will be some games you just randomly win by aggroing, but
Yes.
to get the most out of it still requires a lot of skill, I think, and there's much, especially in the Mulligan and in the also
Mm.
like still
Yeah,
like
your sequencing matters. Yeah.
sequencing, and you still have to take care of your resource economy, or how can I say, like you can't just slam everything down and hope it is enough. Often like you still have to like see the value of your cards and don't randomly like slam them down for no value. Your one drops, you can play them
Mm.
or ink them and stuff. Like I saw you, it's still involved a lot of skill, what I really like. But on the other hand, if both players are equally skilled, it's not a satisfying
Mm.
experience, I think, for both players. Like it's not like, oh, who makes it's very like swingy, I think, the mirror match,
Yes, it
for
is.
example. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why I'm not tilted by it is, well, there were a few things going on. Firstly, I played it a bunch and I kind of
Mm-hmm.
made my own super aggressive version, which we can look at really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we can look at that super quick
Yeah,
now.
we
We
do
don't need to
that
go
now.
into it too much because I don't think it's something I would really advocate that people play. But I wanted to see how far I could push this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like
Makes
aggressive build of the archetype. Lots more one drops, and just trying to play with Doc and Desperate Plan, and then Mulan, so that you can get rid of the
mm-hmm.
excess ones of those, while also building your one drop count for just massively aggressive curve outs.
Mm-hmm.
I played this and won 13 matches in a row, into the
Mm-hmm.
theoretical imaginary top leaderboard of something that doesn't exist.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's not. You couldn't look at this really and say, "Wow, what an amazing deck!" But it's purely built to exploit like the
Mm-hmm.
massive potential, like just how explosive these aggro builds can
Mm-hmm.
be.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really long time since I've played a true aggro deck, and actually was what
Mm-hmm.
I historically wanted to be my identity in the game. I actually wanted to be someone who brewed those things and always tried to subvert the metagame with aggressive stuff, and moved away from that because I just fell in love with the tempo play style. But yeah, it felt good to be back, just like pushing, like how far can we push this aggressive archetype and just take out a load of the tools that are more interactive. Like this has no Rapunzels in it because having, first of all, I want to say something about like Rapunzel, which is the card is phenomenal, and your opponent will always play around it. Doesn't matter if you have it in your deck or not. You
There was
gain quite a
yeah
lot
that
of imagine. You gain a lot of imaginary value, like
yeah
mental
yeah
value,
yeah
from the fact that your opponent will not walk into Rapunzel traps, which don't even exist, and then you refill off like
yeah.
plans and docks instead. That is really good.
There was
Um,
like there was like the Warchuck or something who posted a list with only
yeah,
Ron Rapunzel. Everyone bashing
yeah,
him, and then I thought like you didn't play Amber Steel very much if you bashed it, because like Rapunzel is very often a really dead card, and
yes, very.
just the yeah, like you said, just your opponent playing around that is way more value than the. It's like Gogo a bit. You can compare
Yeah,
it like a
it
bit
is.
to Gogo, and so you rarely play it, but you yeah, it's there, and your opponent needs to be aware of that. And I think it was kind of clever to try it without Rapunzel, because it's not a reliable card draw engine in the deck.
No,
If opponent play correctly, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I interrupted
uh,
you.
no, that's yeah, really, really good, and that was the exact reasoning, was just that Rapunzel relies on your opponent to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You need to see a certain situation must present itself for that card to do its thing. Um, when you build hyper aggressive, hyper linear aggro builds like this, you need every card to do the thing that it does every time. You can't really leave a lot of room for those sort of situational things. And the other thing I really loved about experimenting with this really aggressive version was that against like blue red or something, I would just Mulan away my storms when I don't need the removal. Like I can, those cards felt so dead, like such dead draws in some of these builds against like these things with no decent targets for them. Um, I could ditch them when they weren't needed and just play and replace them in my hand with like a daisy or something, and it's suddenly the whole landscape of your hand and your curve out changes, and just great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if a build like this has real legs, or what. All I can say is it was
Ah,
very, very good on the day,
I
and
I already
I
told you
liked it.
that I think it's very, very clever list, and I'm curious to try it out as well because like the one drops, I think the Mulan are very are a good one drop in the deck generally because like you have these bricky cards that you would
Hmm.
like to ditch. And then the Desperate Plan is also a really good card. I like because like one of the games you lose are when you draw no dogs. I think that's one of the
Yep,
games you lose. And I think maybe that was your thinking as well. And then you and then you wanted to
precisely.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
And
the
so
exact thinking.
yeah.
Was after sorry to jump in, but after testing the like a version a bit closer to Kurt's, with Amber Steel, it was a non-diggy version, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
more typical version, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Sky's one we looked at last week. A big noticed a huge difference in the games where I drew dock versus not. So build in 3 Desperate Plan,
Mm-hmm.
and with Mulan support, because you do not want to draw 2 Desperate Plans,
Mm-hmm.
and if you
Mm-hmm.
do, you need them. You're going to need to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
rid of one. So you add one outside chance failure mode to the deck,
Mm-hmm.
while massively increasing like the redundancy on your dock effects. Like you can see them far more often, which is great. Um, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. I still think like the because the thinking of Rapunzel made me think, yeah, that was like clever from. But then I also think I just wanted to add to the Rapunzel thing, like Rapunzel's still a messed up card. I remember
Yeah, it's really really good.
uh set
Yeah.
4 or something. There was released a Pete or something, like with the exact same stats, like 4 cost, 1/5 quest for 2 with 0 effect, you know. And I think like, what is this? Like, this card is a meme because like
Yep.
we get another card that has a really great effect as well to this what is considered as a vanilla stat line. Obviously,
Mm.
apparently they consider that as a vanilla stat line for cost 1/5 quest for 2. So it's like
Yep.
it's really it's still a messed up card in terms of overstated, overpowered. So probably you will never go wrong to add some, but yeah, I can
Yeah, of
see
course.
the
Yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah, it's very very good. Yeah, on that, I remember when they spoiled the Sapphire 1/6 Moana that cost 3 in Quest for
Mm-hmm.
1.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, looked at that card and said, okay, from this we can determine that the effect on Hiram Flaversham, where it draws 4 cards before it can be challenged,
It's
is
well.
is is is, is valued at 1 ink. This is this 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 basically, like, there is a chance you have one window to make it just a draw 2. So it's like a draw 2, most of the time a draw 4. This effect is valued at exactly 1 ink. Very good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and yeah, so that's like one of the easiest ways to spot cards that are in danger of being like heavily messed up is if there are
Yeah,
things with similar bodies to them at like effectively the same cost that do not have anything like their
yeah.
wild card advantage ability. Yeah, you might have a pretty messed up card on your hands. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Um.
definitely true of that.
So what do we say about the metagame? I you would say Ebastine is the best deck right now, right?
I don't. Yes, I would actually.
Or
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
I
know if we need to clarify that or something, but yeah.
no, I I can't say for sure what I think the best deck is. I can tell you that it's between Amber Steel, Green Steel, and Green Purple. I
Mm-hmm.
think that those are the three decks that are in contention for best deck in the format. And there are probably three other decks that are very, very close behind
Mm-hmm.
on the same tier. All I would say is that like if I was making sure I had a solid plan against one deck right now, it would be Amber Steel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing. There's no. I don't think it's like on paper wildly better than Green Steel, but there's
Mm-hmm.
much more chance that I would play a deck with a bad Green Steel matchup than a deck with a bad Amber Steel
Mm-hmm.
matchup right now.
It makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense
it
to
comes
me.
down to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because like that's always my like. It feels always bad to lose to Akko. I don't know why it feels way more bad than to lose to everything else. Maybe it's
yeah.
like this because all of this the additional thing what doesn't make it better. All these Amber Steel cards. I don't want to insult the cards, but they look at you with some. The most cards look at you with such a dumb expression on it, like
They,
like the dog and the rhino and stuff, and also Smee,
yeah,
and it's not a
yeah.
it's not a
They're
very
all
intelligent lineup, or how can you say?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's
It's
just-
it's a very very good observation. Of they none of them really look like they all look like either dumb or incredibly innocent. That if you like get beat down by them, the only one there that doesn't do that is Calhoun. She looks kind of serious.
yeah.
But then sometimes they cut that card, and it's literally just a mono pile of like smiling fools that are just like, hee, guess I quest for two, da, 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 you died. And you're like, what is going on? Like any deck, like when I look at Doc, just little, it's happy with his little finger in the air, and then I look at it, and it's like, it's really hard to not get tilted by these things happening. They have, yeah. I've never noticed that before, but I think there is something to that.
I,
They,
I, I tell you, I made a little bit of now marketing is maybe too much, but in my when I was an apprentice, and then that makes it's much more meaning that we might think to
yeah,
these
sure.
pictures of cards, and you like look at their faces and see like yeah, you don't want to lose. The rhino didn't make it better, to be honest. Didn't make it better to this just how can I say the appearance of the deck? How can I say it's funny? Probably all the Ember Steel enjoyers will hate us now, but it's still it's a funny observation for me to like
Yeah.
yeah see that and all this some of them at least stupid faces crushing you.
Yeah. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. Like, how can you disagree or take anger with that? That's like just an observation, and there probably is like a deeply rooted psychological impact of like why I'm so tilted by Mr. Smee is that like I look at this thing and as I look at it, I'm thinking like, how does this make any sense at all? This card is so much better than every other 2-drop in the game, as far as I can tell, by like such a wild margin. And then while I'm looking at it, I'm trying to make it make sense. And what I'm actually seeing is this bumbling guy, like, oh, I got a crab on my toe. Oh no, oh silly old me. And then you just go from like looking at the card to just punching the desk, screaming at this inanimate character. Yeah, I think that's helping me. It's helping me understand myself a bit better because
Yeah,
some of that is going on for sure. Yeah,
because
I
yeah,
think.
I think it's very important. I saw a video of about some Magic players to understand your tiltness. I think it's a very good.
Mm,
I think it's a very good way to improve as a player to like oh that's deep psychology now but like to analyze your anger and why you
mm.
I think it's important if you get tilted and you shouldn't get tilted. Tilt is is like is not a helpful thing. It doesn't help you at all, and it's better to not get tilted. But I think some players I'm always impressed by players that don't get tilted at all. and then I want to get better and that and get on the same level, how I would say. But then I think I have to analyze why I get tilted, and do I get just tilted because someone beats me? That makes no sense. Why? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it makes a bit sense if I consider myself to be a better player than them, but yeah, I think it's a good to observe. It's good to observe that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes you can slip into an unhealthy relationship with the game
Yeah,
without even
knowing it.
recognizing it, because you're experiencing that feeling as like frustration with your opponents or frustration with a specific deck, and actually other decks produce very similar feelings. And yeah, it's good for like sort of to actually sit and unpack why something made you feel as bad as it did, and then helps you see if there's anything you could do to remedy that, or if maybe it's just time to cool off and take a break or what. But yeah, I think a lot of value to that. Just
Yeah, of course,
if
because
something
it's
makes you feel that strongly, then yeah, dig a
yeah,
bit. What's going on? Why
because
is that?
objectively it would be way better to see, oh, I lost. Maybe I should have played not the kid on turn 3. I should have played the fox. It's way better than we say, oh, this stupid top deck the dog. That doesn't help you at all. If you see it like, they lucked and top deck the dog, and that's why I lost. It makes much more sense to even like think, even if they lucked, was I able to win that? But yeah, let's move on a bit.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about the Worlds format. We said that last week, and I think it's like time to talk a bit about it. First of all, maybe just a simple question: how do you feel about the format, or when you heard the format, were you excited, or do you even get like how's that called in English when you're sad to miss something? I don't, because like you
Yeah,
are
just
not
like
qualified, and then you maybe think,
yeah.
how's that called in English?
I guess just disappointment, like just
Okay,
disappointed to not
because
go.
there's a word in German, but yeah,
That sounds like something that there would be a specific German word for.
yeah,
Germans are very good at having like really specific words for feelings. But English people try not to feel anything, so they just
yeah,
they
yeah,
just
but
move on.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. And
Wehmut is in German, Wehmut.
okay,
But yeah, okay.
yeah,
But how do you feel about it?
yeah. My initial reaction was exactly that feeling. I've always loved playing a wide range of decks, and when I saw the sort of what people call conquest format, this three decks with all 6 colors represented across them, that was the first time it really like hit me hard that I'd lost a win and in for Worlds. Was not I was disappointed on the day, but it was so overshadowed by how happy I was to have got that far. But the first, now that we're so far removed from that, I kind of saw what the World's players are getting, and then specifically saw that format, and then I thought, oh, this is God. I would really, really like to play this format, and it's against many of the absolute best players in the world, but I really do think a format like that would suit at least the way I think about deck building and the game in general. And I think it would have, maybe I turn up on the day and lose every round, but in theory, I think it would have suited me really well. I think that both formats, Conquest and Super Sealed, will be very fun for players to play. Sealed less so than Conquest. I'm concerned about the viewer experience of both, actually. Sealed, I think, is miserable to watch. Limited Lorcana is not designed for limited, especially multi-set limited, my opinion. I think that it's fun to play. It's certainly fun to play in release events locally, make a sealed deck, have some fun, learn some new cards. High level
I don't
limited,
want
I
to.
think the games get worse.
I wouldn't say it's much fun necessarily because you have a lot of pressure, and then you may it would be a lot of fun to that just do casually, I think, but to do it high
Mm,
competitively, it's a big how can I say, you need much effort to be successful in that, and it's a challenge to get. It's a real
yeah,
challenge to get good at that, and especially in that short amount of time that they have, because like to practice the sealed, for example, is not very easy, and
mm.
yeah.
No, it's not
Sorry,
easy to.
about
It's
you
not
wanted
easy to
to.
get. No, sorry, I was just gonna say. Yeah, you're completely right. It's not easy to practice, and it's limited Lorcana games tend to be super grindy. Like often they have
Mm,
trouble ending. They're ended by like major blowout cards typically. And because it's not really been played in highly competitive events, outside of like a couple, I played in like 100-person sealed last weekend, and the games did get really sweaty towards the end. Most of the games I've played in smaller local tournaments are ended by poor decision making, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, a player makes a bad quest choice, and it suddenly blows the board open, and actually this stalled frozen board becomes open for one player, and they're able to just run away with the game. I have no idea what it's going to look like when every player is like as good as the world's
mm-hmm,
competitors.
mm-hmm.
It's Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. It might be really fun. I sort of reserve a bit of judgment. It could be really cool. I am concerned that it won't be massive fun to watch. Um, yeah.
Mm, to be honest, like the fun to watch thing, I mean, for their how can I say, marketing purposes, or how you can say, is it important? But I think in general, to determine the best player of the game, I think it's not the first thing you have to have in mind to
Yep.
be fun to watch. But on the other hand, I was a bit confused when they revealed it, because I think it's still a weird conclusion of this year, because we didn't have
Mm,
like anything of this before, and then like only in the last tournament, the most important tournament, they how can I say, they randomly make two new formats actually,
mm,
to compete in that. Well, I think it's still a very good way determining the of determining better players, because you have to learn multiple decks. You need to play multiple decks in perfection. You also, the sealed is a lot of skill involved. So the only thing I'm a bit um concerned is way too probably too much, but I don't want to, like, especially in this constructed format, then I don't want to like this too much, this um in games. I like poker situations, but before, I don't like this. I don't want the games to be solved just by deck building. I still want them to be like still um played out, and um I still want to have the play skill involved. I could see some situations where you just checkmate it just by the deck. Like you ban steel, for example, and then play something
mm,
aggressive, or I don't know. And then I think that's, for example, like a very obvious way to approach it. Maybe ban steel, because you're like um you're yeah, open to ban one deck of your opponent. You could always ban the steel deck of your opponent and then play some hyper aggressive stuff, and then yeah, your opponent won't have the best color in his arsenal to deal the best color against aggressive strategies in his arsenal.
mm,
And then I think I still want the games to be like exciting and yeah, close at some point. And then I think, how can I say that? I think the play skill in the game should be more valued than the deck building skill, in my opinion. But that's maybe just me.
yep.
And then I don't think it's a big concern or something. It's just like I would be interested, because also like the deck lists are also not that exciting because it's like a very niche format. Like if it would be a normal tournament, and then we would see the deck of the world champion, then we see, oh, okay, this could be considered like just the most well-rounded, consistent deck of the game, and he really um, per- made it perfect. And in this format, like there are weird scenarios where weird cards could be like playable, I think, and then the outcoming deck lists on the top shouldn't maybe don't mean that much, but that's small issues I see, and I think in total it's a cool
Mm,
format. Yeah, I don't know if that was
yeah.
understandable what I just said.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah,
Um,
totally. Um, yeah, I think it's in both cases they're like a cool format, and but I agree. I think I don't know how satisfying of a conclusion to the year this is gonna be or was ever gonna be, given like the delays and everything,
mhm,
and
mhm,
how,
mhm,
that we have to read between the lines that actually something went quite seriously wrong
mhm,
between their vision of what Worlds was going to be and what it
mhm,
is. Um, and then it's become clear they can only run a small event. They want to do right by the players and give them like a premium VIP experience that rewards them for qualifying. Um, and then beyond that, have tried to make it an interesting, unique, and attention drawing visual event. So makes sense to shake it up with
yeah,
some cool formats that you probably would be a bit harder to in both cases. I think it's much easier to operate like a small field conquest or
yeah,
sealed tournament and maintain a high standard of competitive integrity. So it's yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to watching it. But it's yeah, I don't think it really matches people's expectations of what Worlds was going to be,
mhm,
um, especially, and that includes Ravensburger. I don't think it aligns with Ravensburger's view of what Worlds was going to be. It's the Worlds we are able to deliver, and it's going to be fun, and we'll have a
mhm,
good time. But this is, to me, I'm almost more excited about the fact that this kind of wraps up an era of confusion for the game, if that makes
mhm,
sense.
mhm,
Like,
yeah,
where did our DLCs go? What happened to the communication? Like now we've got tons of good communication. Now we're kicking off like a complete refresh of the game with Fabled and stuff. And this is your like line in the sand of, okay, let's have some fun. And from here on out, we know the course we're on. We're gonna have a structured competitive play circuit again. Um, and it all gets better from here. It's just been a slightly tough road this year so far.
mhm,
Yeah, and what you've got is the culmination of that as much as anything else, right?
yeah, that's true. What I would be really interested for, especially in you, um,
Mm,
if you would play in this tournament. Like I thought also a bit about
mm,
the format and what I would pick, and I also spoke with other people about it. So that the first, I think the level one conclusion was like the best lineup with the like three best decks would be because Ruby, you can only pair Ruby with either purple or blue. And
mm,
also, yeah, to be a really, really crazy good deck or like a confirmed good deck. How can I, to be more precise?
mm.
And Amber is also a really hard color to pair. So, like
Yes.
Amber, nearly need to pair it with Steel, and Ruby, you either need to pair it with, yeah, with purple or blue. And if you pair it with blue, you have left green and purple, which is also a really good deck. So, like the level one conclusion for the most players will probably be the best lineup. The lineup to beat, you could say, is like Amber Steel, red, blue, green, purple. Because then you have three cool, good decks that your opponent will hopefully be having a hard time to know which he will ban. And then, like, because all three decks are capable of doing powerful stuff. And then I thought, for some players, it still will be like the goal to beat this lineup, like because they
Mm.
assume like the most players will be on this lineup. So and I'm personally, I found out I'm always like a bit conservative person. Like I'm like, if I have this lineup and I think there's nothing so crazy that I think I can never deal with or something, I would pick that lineup probably. And what would you, if you would play in a world championship, would you like try to break that, or would you like say, I have three really good decks. What do I want more? I perfect them now. I make them perfect.
Mm.
I work on them now to make three really good, powerful decks. Or would your goal be like try to break it?
Yeah. Definitely the second option. My personally, knowing myself, I know where my strengths lie in the game, and it isn't really in execution. I don't if you like deep into a format when
Mm-hmm.
everything is decided and people have locked in on pretty much with excluding flex slots, you know almost card for card what is in
Mm-hmm.
like the best decks of the format. That's not the environment I thrive in. I will never be
Yeah,
someone who like executes something to the highest standard.
of
Um,
course you can do that. Why do you say
no,
that?
I can. No, I can, but I think that like my ability to like mechanically and optimally execute with a lot of these decks, a wide range of decks, is I wouldn't say it's like my key
Okay.
skill in TCGs. Some I kind of like I characterize people as like innovators and executors, and
Mm-hmm.
innovators are great at ideas and thinking their way through a metagame, and executors are great at innovators are great at all of the decisions that happen outside the game. Executors are great at all of the decisions that happen inside the game.
Mm-hmm.
Great players are truly great players are both.
Mm-hmm.
But many people would identify with one more than the other,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how true it is. I definitely identify with the stuff, like the thoughts outside of the game. That
Mm-hmm.
to me feels more like what I do well than the thoughts inside the game. Um, I'm not to say I can't execute. Like I'm not bashing myself. I can do that, but it's like I definitely think that my unique strengths are outside the game. Um, so my first thought is, and stay with me here. I would play the best. I would play the best lineup. I would
Uh-huh.
play green purple, amber steel, blue red,
Uh-huh.
and all three decks would be built in incredibly non-standard ways.
Uh-huh.
Um,
That
so
makes a
it's
lot of
like
sense.
they wouldn't look anything like standard
So
blue red.
so staff control,
Yeah, yeah,
blue
it would
red
be something like
blue red hyper aggro,
yeah,
and amber steel. I don't know. Yeah, something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is the first thing I would think, and actually the first thing I would want to know is it's almost impossible to for any of the players to learn this ahead of time. Or actually, I don't know how fully they've been briefed about the event, but I would want to know what the actual physical play environment looks like for them. Like, are they just in rows of tables like a regular tournament? Are they all split up? Because that, as a plan, gets devalued by how much people have a
Oh,
chance to look at your cards before you play.
no.
Um,
They get all lists from all players one day before, I think.
oh, it's all open deck list. Then I
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't do that. Forget
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah.
Completely forget that idea, please. I wouldn't do it.
Still has some value, I think, because they can't change their list anymore if they so. But yeah, of course, they will be more prepared then for that, at least for
Yeah.
executing. Then, yeah.
I mean, one thing you could do is, if steel didn't exist for the most part, very, very aggressive decks would run kind of rampant in this game. So
Mm-hmm.
you can take the plan of build all three decks aggressively and ban steel whoever you play against,
Mm-hmm.
and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You then open yourself up to failure because you will have to play an aggressive deck on the draw game,
Mm-hmm.
which is much harder to do.
Yeah.
But it's a plan that might have some merit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really don't know actually. I hadn't thought about the closed deck list bit. What do you think you would go with? Are you going
Mm,
straight down the middle?
I think I would be really, really conservative and
Okay.
like because I'm I'm really sure I'm a great, great, great green purple player, but I'm also mm, I think a really good red blue player too. I think in all iterations,
Mm.
items or shark, I played the deck a lot, and I'm kind of confident in them. But Ember Steel, for example, there would be a lot of exploration for me, and then I would invest a lot of time in like learning. First of all versions. You could still go for songs if you like. I think if you want to be the AS Ember Steel aggro list, I think Ember Steel songs could still be like. You could even like add in some episodes, or I don't know. I don't know if that's viable, but I would like to build all of these decks to be like good in the mirror, and I would like to be as less predictable as I can get. So like, for example, if you like have this, you go for this. I don't know which deck, hyper aggressive deck, and then your opponent sees your deck list and he already know, okay, he will ban my steel deck, and
Mm.
he will not want to play this deck on the draw, so he will first play the other deck then, and then I know already before anything happens against what deck I play, and would like my decks to be like as unpredictable as I can get. Like all three decks are
Mm.
very good, and then I can adapt to what my opponent does, and I'm not that easy readable. Um, I think that would be my approach, and I think it's really undervalued sometimes how important it is to that's might seem simple, but to master decks. I mean, even today, sometimes I try different things in my mulligan in green purple. And I played the deck now for
Yeah.
nearly 2 years, and then I still change sometimes my opinion over some mulligan decisions, and I can only get a glimmer of that experience in other decks. So till the World Championships come, I mean, I would try to maximize that. But if I would just be happy if I get an as good Ember Steel player as I am a Green Purple player in that limited time I have to
Mm.
prepare. And that would be, I think I would lean all of my energy into that to try to do that, because I think like this is a very risky approach to like try to break this format, because the format is really
Yeah.
hard to break because there are three decks and you can't just randomly. I mean, I know from Hearthstone there was some strategies to make that, but I think Hearthstone was also a bit of a different game. I don't know if you completely can compare this, and it's risky to try to break it, and I think any approaches of trying to break that will probably come back to the I
Mm.
play three powerful decks lineup. At least that would be my feeling.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, I think
wouldn't
so.
like to waste a lot of time into that. But that's just me. And I know there are many other approaches, and probably a lot of things are viable in this format. Yeah. And that
Mm.
makes it interesting. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think the open deck lists thing for me like does mess this up a little bit. This would be imagine this format if they weren't on open deck lists, like, and you could just like your colors were known, but that was where it ended. So that
Mm-hmm.
your opponent could make a choice, and then you can do like you can intentionally mislead people by like you
Mm-hmm.
you get yeah, and by subverting what they expect from like a green steel deck sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, I will play this into their green steel because this is a good green steel matchup, and then it plays completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I would have, if you want like maximum expression of execution skill, highest like competitive intensity, I would have done like full transparent open deck lists, single deck regular tournament structure,
Mm-hmm.
single deck,
Mm-hmm.
um in or a conquest format where there's like a chance to do more funny stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
like your opportunity to innovate, like, so much of innovation in TCGs is based on surprise. Like it's all
Mm-hmm.
like a lot outside of the original design of decks and their core philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
your expression for innovation is all in like tech, which is tends to be metagame relevant, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so what am I putting in to make this deck better? And all these things are invariably better when they come by surprise. Like if I fill a deck with, if people are playing items and then I'm the only one and filling my deck with Bengers, like that's good. It gives me a better lineup into the field. But knowing that that's coming versus like, I'm playing a deck that normally would be on 0 Benger completely changes my opponent's decision making when they know it's coming. So like I would rather have had this environment where everyone is incentivized to do some crazy stuff, or like take a few risks, play some
Mm-hmm.
more interesting things by not having all of that tech immediately revealed to opponents before the game, or have maximum competitive integrity, single deck, full information. There is no window for any funny business whatsoever. It's just you and your opponent, one best of 3, full information on lists, and do your best. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit, but
No, no,
that's kind of
no.
where
I
I
think
land with
that's
it.
reasonable.
I think it would have been more fun to have them close deck lists, but also more frustrating for the players. There's only
Yeah,
50 of those players anyway.
that's something you can't say objectively. I think
Yeah.
it's like one likes that more and one likes that more. I think if you think like I'm the best just player in the world,
Mm.
just at executing the game, then you like open deck list. But if you think, yeah, I'm a very, like you said, like I'm very innovative player, like to break the format. I want to break the format. Then you of course like close deck lists more, and I think
Yeah.
that's both have their place, have their spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, but I still think it's will be interesting and
It's going to be
exciting,
good. It's going to be, yeah, it's
and
going to be a good time.
of course, like yeah, just exciting to see the first world champion. Although it's like still hurts my heart from time to time that we both actually are not. Yeah, we're very
Yeah,
close. We're very close. Yeah,
both of us were within really, really within reach of playing there,
yeah,
and that's something we could be proud of. But
yeah,
it
yeah.
hurts at times like this. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. We have an announcement to make, and it absolutely is off topic. Yeah. So if you want to hear something about Lorcana, you can just close the podcast now. No. We had an idea, and because like for other players that are not playing on the World Championship, there's not too much Lorcana happening right now. So I was very excited to get the new Nintendo Switch 2, which released last week, and you get it as well.
Hmm.
And we are both in love with Mario Kart and playing it. And the new there's a new mode, like a two knockout mode, which is very exciting. And we just wanted to make a community event out of it. Like if you want to play with us, Mario Kart, the new one, I will stream it on Twitch this weekend, like on Friday, um, 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. German time. We will post it later, when we'll do it. If you want to be part of it and you need actually to have a Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart game, Mario Kart World game, then just write me in anywhere in X or LD in X or in Twitter, in Twitter or in Discord or somewhere. We will put you on the list, and then if it's more than 24 players that reach out to us, which would be cool, and actually, then we will search for a solution for that. But or maybe we can change the players or stuff. But I'm really excited for that. I just want to make out a community event of it. I think it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Should be really fun.
yeah, if you want to play with us, write us and get crushed on Friday because I train a lot. That's just for short. But we will more infos on that. We will post on X.
Yeah.
And yeah, be excited for
Yeah,
that.
I think we'll both get a post up, and then probably
Yeah.
that'll give people a thing that they can easily reply to if they're keen, and we'll let them know how they can get involved.
Yes. So yeah. will be exciting. Another thing for me personally, I think it has, it is not that much to do with, but it's confirmed now that I'm moving to Japan this year in August. For you listeners, it will change not that much. I will probably not be able to play any DLCs or something in Europe this year if they come up. So I will be sadly, my wife has a job there, and we are both excited for it. To be honest, it's not a bad thing for us because it's just a cool new experience for us, and we are only moving there for 1 year. So we come back next year. I will not be able to play on any big tournaments in Europe. I will still make all my stuff and all my metafy and things. And just for you to know, I will try to compete in the Japanese Grand Prix there, because they are I think they are on set 3 right now, and closely moving to set 4. I think it's very cool to revisit all these formats that we already played in. With all these banned cards, I think they are banned there too, or at least adjusted. Yeah, that's just short announcement from me.
It's gonna be a change for me. We're gonna have to record pretty early in the day.
For my time. That's the next thing. We will still make the podcast and everything. It doesn't change much for me personally. It doesn't change that much too. I'm still studying laws, and I will make my metafy, and that's all doable online for me. So it's very cool that we actually live in today and not like 20 years ago, because it would be a lot harder. So for you listeners, it won't change much. I just wanted to shortly mention it. And the last thing for me, I am releasing my guide on Green Purple Set 8 soon, probably next week. I think it's I always want to wait till I write on a guide, because I want to only write on a guide if I think Green Purple has a good spot in the metagame. And then I think it's now nearly confirmed that it has at least its spot, and is a good contender for top levels of competitive play. And therefore I write on but only tempo Green Purple guide. This time with also a lot of videos in which I practice every matchup, and I actually hope you enjoy it, because I put in a lot of effort. But just wanted to mention it. That's all from me. Do you have anything?
No, I was just going to say, had a couple of people reach out to me this week about red green discard. People are really enjoying that deck. I have updates which I was going to bring up this week, but it didn't really work with the conversation. Next week, more discussion on that, and a revisit of Monstro combo for the people that are interested in that as well and want an updated list. So I've had a couple of people reach out on both things that just wanted to know a bit more.
We could do it in the commentary, in the description, if you want to. We could add the lists. Do you want,
I'll send you the links.
Or do you want to let us talk next week about it?
We'll talk about it, but I'll send you the Discord link, and we'll have it in the description down below. So if you're looking for an updated list on that, I'll explain next week. I've actually had one very cool conversation about that with one of the artists, one of the card artists from Lorcana, who did the art for 2-drop Vanellope, the evasive. And he reached out to say he really likes the deck and really likes that it's a good deck that can play Vanellope.
Nice.
So he will be quite sad when he sees some of the updates and there's no Vanellope in it. Sorry, bro.
Sorry in advance.
Sorry in advance, but I promise this plays a bit better. That was I didn't have the heart to tell him it. I didn't have the heart to tell him at the time. I was like, oh, that's
the real funny thing would be if you would cut her and just play Pegasus and Zerhis.
If you cut her, but Zerhis in. I don't want to get into it, but actually, it's pretty close to that. I have cut her and Pegasus is in instead, because there's a shift Pegasus in the build.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't cut it just for like spite of like get Vanellope out of the deck. It was there's a reason. But yeah, more on that next week, and I'll bring you updates. But yeah, you can find the list below if you are interested in that.
Yes, nice. Okay, a long episode again.
Yep, as always.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Reach out to us because of Mario Kart. We want to fill the 24 player roster. And yeah, thank you for listening. Till next week, and bye bye.
Bye bye.